Let's also talk about the NATO summit that is underway in Turkey. NATO leaders went into the summit in Ankara fearing one thing above all, that American President Donald Trump would turn the alliance into a public confrontation. And that is exactly how things have unfolded. Even as NATO tried to prove that it was answering Trump's demands on defense spending, it dealt Washington a major blow by choosing Swedish-made surveillance aircraft over a competing American jet. And within hours, Donald Trump launched fresh attacks on its NATO allies, accusing them of failing the United States. Trump said that he was very upset with NATO accusing key allies of treating the United States unfairly. Donald Trump questioned why countries including Britain, Germany and France did not back the U.S. strongly enough during the Iran war. In fact, he said that the crisis had exposed the alliance's commitment to America. Earlier, NATO had tried to reassure Washington by announcing at least $50 billion worth of new defense initiatives, saying that European members were increasing military spending and taking greater responsibility for their own security. But Trump appears to have overshadowed all of those efforts by attacking Spain, demanding that the U.S. end trade ties with Madrid. He accused Spain of failing to contribute enough to NATO and criticized its refusal to support the U.S. during the Iran war. Now, that, of course, is Donald Trump saying that, Spain and U.S. should not be doing trade. But remember, Trump's remarks also undercut NATO's carefully choreographed summit message that Europe was finally stepping up on defense spending. The rift with Madrid has been growing for months now. Spain has rejected Trump's demand to sharply increase military spending, and it has refused to let the U.S. use its airspace and bases during the Iran war. Madrid, however, brushed aside Trump's latest attack, saying that it viewed the remarks as business as usual and that strong bilateral ties continued to benefit both the countries. Trump also reignited another long-running dispute by renewing his demand that the United States take control of Greenland, the autonomous Danish territory, reviving an issue that has repeatedly strained ties within the alliance.
Big problem for us. And the other big problem is the fact that when we wanted them, we didn't want them badly, but we did say, if you want to join us, and they all said no.
Denmark immediately rejected Donald Trump's remarks. The country's prime minister said that Greenland was not up for negotiation or sale.
We are ready to defend every inch of NATO, including our own territory. But one of the reasons why we have built NATO many years ago is if anything happens to one of us, then everybody should stand up for each other.
Now, amid all of this, NATO announced a major procurement decision that is likely to disappoint Washington and more so Donald Trump. The alliance will spend around $4.5 billion on up to 10 sub-globalized surveillance aircraft, replacing its aging AWACS fleet with Swedish-built jets instead of Boeing's competing proposal. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte said that the new aircraft would strengthen the alliance's ability to detect and respond to emerging threats, including drone swarms, and keep NATO's airborne surveillance capabilities strong for decades. The Swedish deal is also part of a wider trend. Earlier this year, Canada chose Saab over Boeing for its next fleet of airborne early warning aircraft as it sought to reduce its dependence on U.S. defense firms. Now, it means that while Trump has succeeded in pushing NATO allies to spend far more on defense, that extra spending is not necessarily flowing to American manufacturers. That clearly raises the bigger question. Donald Trump may have achieved one of his long-standing goals by getting NATO to spend more on defense. But if those billions are increasingly going to European manufacturers instead of American companies, is Washington winning the spending battle while losing the business? That question is likely to hang over this NATO summit long after it ends.